Hi everyone, long time no see. It's been a while, been neck deep with work, OSCP, and a bunch of other stuff. Just give you a quick glimpse of the desk. I have not had idle hands lately. You're seeing a lot of books here. Don't worry, I'm going to do some more videos on those. Anyway, today I had a theme I want to talk about. And we'll get to that in a second. I want to read an excerpt from this book, POC GTFO. It's a quick, about a few paragraphs. There was a fellow named Howard Hughes, a crazy old millionaire. Back in the 30s, he built his own Air Force to film a movie about the First World War. So during the 40s, when Roosevelt needed an Air Force of his own, he bought Howie's. Howie Hughes built other bird feeders. He made the H-4 Hercules, the world's largest airplane, and a damn big boat out of wood. It was 5 stories tall with a 100-meter wingspan. First flying in 1947, nothing approaching its size was seen for another 40 years. During the Cold War, when the CIA wanted to recover a sunken Soviet submarine, K-129, they called Howie up. Howie, they said, we've got to keep this real quiet. Don't tell anyone. So the next day, Howard Hughes held a press conference. There are giant blobs of copper on the ocean floor, he lied. And I'm building a big-ass boat with a big-ass crane to pick them up and drop them on the deck. It'll be so efficient that I'll put the other copper mines out of business. So while folks were scrambling to invest in his copper company and divest from the real ones, Howie built the Hughes Glomar Explorer. True to his word, it was a big-ass boat with a big-ass crane. But instead of picking up copper blobs, it lifted that submarine off the ocean floor and dropped it on the deck. How could he do these things? Because he built his own fucking bird feeders. That's how. So when you're tooling around with a from-scratch tool, your own hex editor or interactive disassembler, and your neighbors tell you to use O10 or to use IDA or to use this or use that, do what Noah and Howie would do. Look them in the eye and say, I'm building my own fucking bird feeder. So... and I'm paraphrasing here. But anyway, the thing I got a lot of value out of that as I was working through this course and doing some additional studying. I've been doing stuff on Hack the Box to eat up some of my time, as well as tinkering around my home lab, getting some of my processes down. One thing I noticed with a lot of people that have been going through this course and the other more advanced courses in the past is I'd always see them, posting stuff on Twitter like, "Oh, I did this thing. I built this script that automates this. I built this. I did that, and I did this thing." It'll be some stuff. I'm like, where'd they come up with that stuff from? What was the motive? How did you get from I'm toiling away on this box to I'm going to automate this and get a bunch of stuff done? So one thing that's really important about this exam is, of course, time. We all hear the stories about it being a 24-hour exam. And you start realizing like, oh, I don't need to keep typing all this stuff in. So what I ended up doing was putting together a bash script to automate some of the stuff I work on. Some of the recon stuff, nothing too in-depth, but it gives me time to run other tools in tandem with it or focus on one box while this is running on other boxes. So I'll show you what I did so far, and don't worry, I'll post this on my blog as well. It's not very spoiler specific. It's not spoiler specific. It doesn't apply to anything. You can use it. You could probably use it during the OSCP. I have been using this on Hack the Box with similar results, and you could tune the scripts a little bit and use it for whatever you need. The point of it is, one thing I've been doing lately with my VMs is kind of like thinking, and I had this problem happen during an exam take once where I had a bunch of problems on my VM and then I had to stop and then restart. So I was like, okay, I don't want to keep the stuff on the VM and be dependent to it and beholden to something important being left on it. So I created shared folders that I run everything through. There we go. Hopefully that worked. All right. Anyway, so here's one thing. So one thing I did with my VM is configure these folders. Originally, I had it going into one VM share folder, but I figured, okay, what if for some reason I did something that RMRF my drive and lose everything? So one thing I did, in that VM share folder, I created 2 different paths, a read only and then a read write one. My read write one is where I pretty much dump any stuff I'm actively working on, like any results from scans. We'll get to those in a second. And you're kind of seeing the end product of this here. So looking at this, I've got these 2 folders in my VM share folder. And the read only one, I just have a bunch of tools in here, some stuff, and worst case scenario, I can just copy it over. But these are things I don't want to lose in the VM. This read write one is kind of where I get a lot of work done. And as you can see, I've got these separate folders for everything I'm working on. We're not going to go into other ones because they're kind of spoilery, so I'll go into the Hack the Box one. And so what I do, and then every time I work on a new box, this bash script I wrote creates these folders and then puts all my work in that folder. And what I'll do is, as I'm doing, whether it be a Nicto scan or any other thing I'm doing, I move it into that. I'll move it into a folder or write something in that folder, and then later on I can look through my notes. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. So one thing, so in here, and I'm more likely going to make this a little more organized, like having my nmap scripts output into a separate folder just for nmap. Like I've got stuff from Sparta in here. One thing, and so what I ended up doing was, I can't remember who posted on Twitter. I'll drop their name on Twitter if I can find it. But this tool called XSLT proc, it takes an XML file from nmap and then converts it to an HTML report. So here's what we have here, the HTML report. This is just a simple port scan. The beauty of this is you can see the scan, or the specific command right here. It'll give you a timestamp. That's always good. It tells you the host up here. It's very easy to read. You'll see ports. It's kind of cool. And I have separate scripts that do other things, more in-depth things too. So when we get in here, like I've got it scanning and producing a lot more results. So this came from me wanting to save time on the stuff I'm working on, and so I can focus on something else while I'm doing that in the background without having to think, oh, I could be doing this right now. I'm like, no, this is running right now, and I'm working on this other thing or a whole separate box. So I'll go through this script line by line. Right here, this is the shebang that lets the OS know that it's going to be a bash script, and you can do the same thing with Python, and it'll run. So I can set it as an executable and run it whenever. And these are just comments. Me and my banners. Almost every program I've gotten to writing, I instantly want to learn how to add a banner to it. Nothing cool. It's just kind of like it's easy for me to, I don't know, look at later or something, what have you. And then, so what I like to do is let myself know what the status of the script is, what it's doing, what it's currently working on. So it's creating this working directory right here. That's the comment for it. It's actually doing it down here. So what I do is I'll create a working directory, and then I'll change directory into it. So everything else after, when it's outputting, it's going already into that directory. You'll notice the $2 here. That's an argument for the bash script. So when I run the command, that's also why I have this banner here. You run the command, the host you want to hit, and then you do the folder. And the folder, that's the environment. I mean, I could add a third argument for what type of folder I want to put this in, but I wanted to keep it simple, and that folder is the folder name it's going to go to. This script in particular is geared toward my Hack the Box work, so it's already in the folder. So, and the thing I noticed with it changing directory, it didn't need, if I take this line out, it just puts it in the root of the Hack in the Box directory and not in the directory of the folder I name where I'm working. So, oh yeah. So another thing I found cool, and this is why it helps to get familiar with some of the tools. So as I started getting more familiar with Nmap, there's a switch you can use that will get the IPs from a text file. So if you don't want to use a host name, if you use oh, here we go, yeah. So if you use this for an argument, it'll point to your file name with all the hosts in it. So instead, if you want to do, it'll have all the hosts in here. So like you'll run the scans with the IL argument. It'll still go into a folder, but when you open up the report, it'll open up and it'll show like, it won't show all the IPs up here. It'll just show one IP, and then you'll scroll down, you'll see another IP with results for each one. Let's see, where did you, there we go. So, and as you can see, it's not all that complex. It's just a bunch of nmap, it's a bunch of nmap commands with different conditions. Like this one's just a simple port scan. Going a little deeper, I added more stuff. This one just looks for vulnerabilities based on the nmap scripts that look for vulns, and this one does any sort of enumeration. And what I ended up doing as I was working on these is I would run it on about 5 to 10 boxes and time how long each of those boxes ran. That's kind of where this date command at the end comes in, where I go, okay, I want to timestamp when it starts, when this whole script starts, and then when it stops. I know there's probably a million ways to do it better, and that's going to be in the next version. That's pretty much all I have for this video for what I've been working on. I'll also include a blog article with this on what I did. If you like what you saw, feel free to like and share this video. If you want to keep up with my content, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. Like I said, it's infrequent. I don't have a routine. I do this every week, but I want to start posting more and more. So first thing we got to do is just do it. With that note, I'll see you soon. Cheers.